So we're on the record in docket 24-00016. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Dominique Rogers. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Schroeder.
And Assistant Public Defender Aaron Schroeder on behalf of Ms. Rogers, asking the court waive her appearance at this time, as this will be, my understanding is this is going to be a dismissal, and she had to be in court in Eaton County.
Ms. Wilson.
That is correct, Your Honor. Ms. Rogers was here just a few minutes ago and informed everybody that she had court in Eaton. The people currently don't have the necessary witnesses to proceed, so I would be anticipating a motion to dismiss from the defense, and I have no issue with the defendant having left the court with all this information.
Okay. Ms. Schroeder, so you're doing a motion to dismiss?
That is correct, Your Honor. So I would be asking for dismissal on this.
All right, let's print out the dismissal or nollie pros. We'll have the prosecutor sign it. This is a motion. I think I don't think you have to sign it, Ms. Wilson.
Correct.
So I'm in possession of 24-00016, an order of acquittal or dismissal. I'm going to sign the order based on defendant's motion to dismiss. Failed to appear. It appears that there have been some problem with contacting the complaining victim.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. And then, Ms. Schroeder, you explained to your client that this is dismissed without prejudice, so that people could reissue if they choose to. But for all intents and purposes, the case is dismissed today.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, that's all for the record. 24-00016. Anything else, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing for the people, Your Honor.
Ms. Schroeder.
Nothing for the defense.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe we're ready on Thomas.
Thomas, DeAndre.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas is joining us by Zoom.
That's correct.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-00002. People of the state of Michigan versus DeAndre Thomas. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Lauren Sutter on behalf of Mr. Thomas, who joins us via Zoom.
And sir, you are DeAndre Thomas, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can hear me all right, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is time set for a final pretrial in the matter. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. I've spoken with defense counsel briefly this morning. It came to the people's attention late last night that there were some jail calls going on with the victim in this matter while Mr. Thomas was incarcerated. So we're going to be asking for another pretrial so we can get a detective assigned to those calls. There may be a P53 violation that may be coming up and potential further negotiations based on that.
Ms. Sutter.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Wilson did share that information with me this morning. I have conveyed it to Mr. Thomas. I would just ask that it be a final pretrial and the P53 set for the same day, since we're subpoenaing witnesses all around.
All right. All right, so we'll set this for based on new information. We'll set it for final pretrial. 12th or 26th?
26.
February 26th at 8:30 for final pretrial, and then we'll do a corresponding jury trial.
March 18th.
March 18th at 8 a.m. So, Mr. Thomas, please keep in contact with your attorney, Ms. Sutter. Your final pretrial set for February 26th at 8:30. You'll receive notice at the last address you gave the court, which was, looks like the Pierce Street address. Okay. And then jury trial set for March 18th at 8 a.m. Anything else for the record, Dr. 24-00002, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Ms. Sutter?
Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Thomas, we'll see you on that February 26th date, okay?
Okay.
We're also ready to go on Mr. Geller, who I see just joined us.
I just see Mr. Geller.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Geller, we'll call your case.
Okay.
So we're on the record in docket 23-02461. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Cody Geller. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Lauren Sutter on behalf of Mr. Geller, who joins us via Zoom.
And sir, you are Cody Geller, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you can hear me all right, Mr. Geller?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This time set for a pretrial in the matter. Ms. Wilson, how we proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. So there are a couple of other cases going on with Mr. Geller that we're trying to get wrapped up with sobriety court. It's my understanding we're waiting on one other court to sign off, so we would be requesting another final pretrial to see if we can get that moving.
This was set for
What is
pretrial.
it, pretrial?
It
Okay.
was today, Your Honor, just so we could avoid having to subpoena, or the
Okay,
state could
yeah.
avoid having to subpoena anyone. I think another pretrial for that same reason makes sense.
That's-
Right, I have indications here that there's a global resolution in place and sobriety court is being looked at.
That's correct.
At specialty court.
Yes, he has been fully accepted. The 55th has signed off. We're just waiting on the chief judge to sign in 54B.
Okay,
And that was an update as of the 30th. So I think we're close.
close, okay. All right, I'll adjourn the pretrial for global resolution. We'll make it a pretrial so we don't have to subpoena any witnesses. Since it looks like there's a specialty court involved. So we want it after, well, it doesn't matter at this point.
I think just to be safe, at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Just because I think there's a signing off and then an actual plea date.
2 weeks is that?
So make it 3. No, but it's a specialty court. So February 26th at 9 o'clock.
Thank you.
So by that time, everything should be in place. Is that specialty court in 55th or 54B?
54B is my understanding,
right.
since I think the other one is currently full.
All right. And then, so Mr. Geller and Ms. Sutter, the whole case will go over there. So
Yes.
she'll take the plea and that'll be Judge Grenwald, I think.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we've set this for February 26th at 9 a.m. in order to resolve this with the global resolution and the specialty court in East Lansing. So we've set that date on February 26th at 9 o'clock. Okay, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else for the record? In 23-02461, Ms. Wilson,
Other from the people, Your Honor.
Ms. Sutter.
Nothing further.
All right, Mr. Geller, you're all set.
Thank you.
Too efficient this morning. I don't know what to do now.
I know. They're not gonna, the dockets haven't been as
No.
onerous lately.
Well, we had,
Free on
yeah, we had our Monday, so
That's true.
we get some break
But we were
time.
out before noon and I was shocked.
Yeah. That's true. Actually,
And-
there's,
And tired
Yes.
and still had to do a jury trial.
yeah, that's true. There's some downtime right now. I think we did want to speak with you in chambers.
Sure.
Jones is on Zoom.
Well, maybe talk to her.
Mia
first.
Jones.
Yes. she's
Sorry.
on this morning. Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll talk to her.
All right.
quickly, and then Ms. Wilson and I were hoping to talk to you sometime this morning.
Perfect.
Thank you. I think I'm still in the break room. Yeah, I'm still in room 1 if I could speak with Ms. Jones.
Yep. That's
Thank
clear
you.
in there.
What's that? Mm-hmm.
Somehow our afternoon looks more packed than our morning.
Well, we've got some probation violation.
Mhm.
There's some civil stuff. Got a plea. Oh, this, I don't recognize the name. I signed the order to disclose,
Yes, the CPS records. Yep.
and I recognize that. You have anything exciting happen besides the loss? How about you, Wendy?
No, just outside.
I was concerned that, I was convinced MSU was gonna lose Friday night and they won. So that was good news.
Were they playing?
They were playing Maryland.
Oh, okay.
It was a really close game for
Yeah, the first half, I was, you
90.
kind of get like, I'm so tired of watching them play this bad.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they played well. And that's tiring too. That inconsistency gets tiring.
Once
But
again, Lee Cole had a really good game.
he did. He did. So that was fun to watch. And then I went to the Ingham County Bar Conference at the, starts at 8 on a Saturday morning. I'm not surprised it's not well attended.
Yeah.
You start at
Yeah.
8 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
No.
You know, I got there like at 10. I was late because we drove in from Midland, and I got there and there was a wellness person, and then there was a panel that I was on. And I'm thinking 8 o'clock on a Saturday
Yeah.
morning.
Mm-mm.
That's asking a lot.
It is, yeah.
That was good though. It's a pretty good conference.
I completely forgot it was this weekend, so.
I got to see, let's see. Milks was there from your office.
Yep.
Ms. Schroeder. And Matusko was there from your office.
Okay.
Second in command.
Yep.
Kudos on both of them being morning people.
Yes.
Yes.
That would not be me.
There were a bunch of civil lawyers there. At one time, I thought I was joking with Judge McCormick, and I was like, I think there's more people on this panel than there are participants. But if I was wrong, there was about, but it was, 25 people to 8 participants.
To each their. I'm with you. I forgot it was even this week,
Yeah. But it was,
but also 8 a.m.
and it's nice to go over the courthouse. I haven't been to that courthouse in a while. Was in a jury room, and then judges in the courtrooms. They broke out into the courtrooms.
Was it over in Circuit?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Grady Porter building.
Mhm.
I remember when they built that building. I had from my office, I could see the building of that building. And I just remember, I had a case with Hugh Clark,
Mhm.
and he would take pictures of it. He'd come in and he'd take, because off the record, we got along great. On the record, we fought all the time.
Yeah.
But he took pictures of them building the building.
Mhm.
So it was almost like every 3 days, you'd get a picture of that building view. That building went up pretty quick. I mean, over the summer, it went up pretty fast. But
Any news on
Yeah, I'd love to
our
ask.
new, our new digs?
they broke ground on it.
Okay.
They did.
That's something.
Wasn't that back in December though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to say.
Don't confuse me with dates, Ms. Schroeder, but yeah, you're right. And then we're going tomorrow to see the new layout of the courtroom. Yeah. Because we went to an initial layout of the courtroom and everybody argued.
Yeah.
And so now we're coming to the second. And Nicole was there with
Okay.
with Mr. Dwayne and the city attorney, or members of the city attorney's office were there. So tomorrow there's we're gonna walk through it again. It's funny because we're walking through it in a building that's gonna be destroyed for
Yeah.
the new building. So, which I think is kind of funny
Mhm.
because it's gonna be a while until we get it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
The new Mason, criminal justice center, whatever they're calling it. It's very nice.
It's very nice, but
It is. I want to go see. So I went to see it when it first opened up, like the new jail, the new courtrooms, and you don't have any like barometer except when you used to try case. So I didn't have any. Then we went through our walkthrough, and then you start developing like things you like and things you don't like. So then I made an appointment to go back to see it with Judge Hillman. But then this came up. We have a walkthrough tomorrow. So I'm like, hold off on that. Let's walk through. And then you can tell me what you like and what you don't like, which I think is, because he's been living with it for about a year now. I was not a fan of that initial. I don't know if you ever saw it. Before we had that building, it was a courtroom in the round. It looked like something out of Thunderdome. It looked like something out of a Mad Max movie.
Yep. And it was dark.
It was dark. Both courtrooms were really dark. And the
Sound.
defendant was right next to the victim.
Oh, yeah.
So in CSCs and vote, we'd switch it around, but it was all in a circle. It was a big circle. It was just not a very good setup.
Yeah.
I didn't think.
That was where I spent my first 3.5 years. The public defender's office was stationed in that.
Were you really?
That courthouse, yeah. And I remember those tiny little rooms in the back too, for one for the prosecutor and one for the defense attorney.
Yeah. As you go in, and we it was the same. You used to put 2 assistant prosecutors out there, but you had those rooms in back, and you're always stepping over because witnesses are everywhere. The magistrates,
The closet.
it was
Literally a
it was
closet.
hidden too. It was like you had to push a door off a panel where everybody, and it was hidden, and so it was a closet. It was like, it was funny. It was
such a janky little courthouse.
Yeah. So I'm glad they redid it all because it looks much more professional.
When I walked in there the first time, though, but the first word about this is too much. This is just too much. Because I went from having this dingy little ramshackle thing to holy Toledo. This is nicer than 30th.
It is. You just felt like you were in a courtroom,
As opposed to.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. What
I'm not sure when they built that building. I'm sure it was state of the art.
I think you have some.
But I remember walking in there in like 1994 and thinking, you try a case in here?
Yeah, I
did.
did. I tried cases.
This is literally in the round. Like, when does Tina Turner drop from the Thunder? I mean, like, it was weird. It was just a weird vibe.
Oh, it's absolutely just bizarre.
I didn't like it.
The old 55th.
Oh,
Yeah, the old 55th was weird.
It was just a bizarre setup.
And I'm sure it was state of the art when they made it. They made it like contemporary.
They were so proud of it.
Oh,
No,
I'm sure they
Sure,
were.
they were very proud of it.
I was just happy that stupid cricket that was in the back got his eventually when that building came down.
I'm convinced Tom was laying in wait for him.
I was looking for him. I was like, Mina one day walks up and it's like, what are you doing, Miss Schroeder? And I'm like, I'm looking for this stupid
I'm
cricket.
hunting
Can't
weapons.
find it. And then she was like, well, I didn't notice it until you mentioned it. Thanks.
That's gonna haunt my dreams forever.
Exactly.
I had McCabe, Judge McCabe and Judge Brennan were the ones who started it. And they were fine. But Judge Brennan made me so mad. And I little
He made a lot of people mad.
Yeah, I didn't
I
know.
heard.
He was running like mock trials stuff, but he definitely had his own drum going.
Mhm.
But I ran an armed robbery prelim, and I had to call all my witnesses because I didn't know where they were going to be, because it happened. The victims were all from Hooters, and I just didn't know where they were going to be. And these are kids from Chicago, drug dealers from Chicago meet drug dealers from Diamonddale. And drug dealers from Diamonddale aren't real drug dealers.
Nope.
Drug dealers from Chicago are real drug dealers.
Uh-huh.
So they meet, and then the drug dealers from Chicago steal everything and then rape their women. And so, so it's a nasty, nasty case. And I had to call all the witnesses because I didn't know where they're going to be. And so you're kind of preserving testimony. And Judge Brennan made it known, okay, you've met the elements. There's no need to call extra witnesses. I'm like, I got to call everybody.
Yeah.
So the last hour of the prelim, he was like this.
Silent
never
retreat.
ending. Oh.
He had his back to the courtroom. He put his legs up, and that's how he did like that. Is not a good look.
Disrespectful.
No, yeah, it was
Not great.
disrespectful. It was kind of disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
Even ignoring his frustration with attorneys present, like,
Yep.
what do you think that shows the
I know,
witnesses, the
yeah.
members of the
So-
public
A member of
here?
the public who just
And
happened
these
to
are
wander
just
in.
these are like
Elected.
waitresses,
Yeah.
you know, and they're just they're vulnerable and
Yeah.
you know, and they're from Diamondale. They've never seen anything like this, you know, guns and all these things showing up. And so,
Yikes.
yeah, it was.
Nice and light. Hello. Oh.
I like how you're saying it to me as if I'm talking.
We'll try to be a little quieter.
Sorry.
No, you're good, Remington.
I think we're ready to go on Ms. Jones.
Yep.
Mrs. Wilson was sending over a report.
Yes, I sent it to Wendy and Nathaniel. I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, we're doing a no contest plea.
All right, let's see.
Did you get it? Yeah. Mhm.
Back to me, it was like, thank you for letting us know. Well, they weren't looking for
All
anything,
right.
but she emailed me about 9 o'clock-ish. Yes, it looks like. Duly noted, I let the judge know and hit her signed PG. Thanks.
All right, Ms. Jones, we're gonna call your case next, once we get the factual basis. But you can unmute when you're ready and we can introduce ourselves for the record. There you go. All right, Ms. Jones, can you hear me all right?
Yes,
All right. So we're on the record in docket 2302-998. That's the people of the state of Michigan versus Latrice Jones.
Amia Jones.
Oh, Amia Jones. Will the parties please, thank you. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Ms. Wilson,
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Ms. Sutter.
Good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Public Defender Lauren Sutter on behalf of Miss Amia Jones, who joins us via Zoom.
And ma'am, you are Amia Jones, is that correct?
yes,
All right, and you can hear me all right, Ms. Jones?
yes.
All right, this is the time set for I think this is a
Pre-trial.
final pretrial. Ms. Wilson, how are we proceeding?
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe this is going to be a plea to, let me just pull it up real quick, to count one for, that would cover both children, and count two would be dismissed. There's also a killabrew to no upfront jail.
About July 28th, 2023, driving motorcycle backward near South King Boulevard and Rio Road.
Killebrew, no jail. We're the loud.
Yep.
You're just commenting
I
on
just
that.
want to make sure you understood that.
Yep.
So that's a plea to count one, count two is to be dismissed.
That's correct, Your Honor. And specifically, it'll be a nolo contendere plea. Correct.
Oh, it's a no contest plea.
Yes,
Yep.
civil liability is
Civil
the
liability.
foundation.
And continue to.
Count two is to be dismissed. Let me find that. So you're pleading to count one concerning, that would be indication that is a 1 year or up to 5 years probation. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes,
All right. There's a Killebrew agreement of no jail time, which is agreement between the attorneys. So if I was going to give you jail time as a part of the sentence recommendation, you could withdraw your plea. Do you understand that, ma'am?
yes,
Okay. And then with a plea and sentence to count one, count two is to be dismissed. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
That's correct.
All right. And then I'm using the police report concerning 23519099650 as the basis for the factual plea. Is that correct, Ms. Wilson
Correct, Your Honor.
and Ms. Sutter?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. My inquiry of your client of their advice of misdemeanor rights on count one, no contest.
Yes.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to walk you through your trial rights on count one and count two. But you'd be pleading guilty to count one, or pleading not, I'm no contest. I should rephrase that. No contest. So you have the right to be tried by a jury, to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, to have the prosecutor prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty, to have witnesses against you appear at trial, to question any witnesses that are brought against you. You, of course, are represented by Attorney Lauren Sutter. She would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought by you against by the people of the state of Michigan. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. You have the right to have the court order any witnesses appear in your defense, to remain silent during the trial, not to have that silence used against you, and to testify at trial if you choose to testify. If your plea is accepted, to give up the claim, the plea was a result of any, if you plead no contest, you'll give up the claim that the no contest plea was a result of any promises other than what's been stated on the record, or threats that it was not your choice to plead no contest. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
If you also plead no contest, you'll be giving up any appeal rights because from trial, since you won't be having a trial, you'll be pleading no contest instead. Is it your intent today to waive your rights to jury, misdemeanor jury trial rights, and plead no contest to the charge?
Yes.
Okay. So for the factual basis, I am going to use the previously indicated 23519099650 police report. And I will indicate that
Okay, thank you very much.
on September 29th, 2023, which is the date, at 1217 Mary Avenue, Apartment 5, City of Lansing, which is the location and venue.
This is the public defender John Ray appearing on behalf of Daniel Lawson. He's going to speak to the crowd with those who obey. He's recommending you fill out our tail. The impact to be covered as John Ray or whatever.
Okay, so make sure I understand. Law enforcement responded to the scene and there was nobody with the children?
That's correct.
Okay. And that's both the 3-year-old and then there was a younger child.
I believe the younger child was approximately 1.
Okay. You know, so the theory is, and I believe it's acceptable, that the Ms. Jones left the children unattended. So there was the knowingly or intentionally leaving the children unattended on the date and time. And that posed an unreasonable risk of harm or physical injury to both those childs by being unsupervised. But no physical injury or serious physical injury occurred.
Not that we found, Your Honor.
Is
no.
that fair, Ms. Sutter?
It is.
All right. All right, I find the factual basis to be valid concerning count 1, child abuse in the 4th degree, for the as indicated on the record. So I find the factual basis to be as to count one to be met. Based on the recommendation, I'm gonna refer to probation. So Ms. Jones, you should report to 54A District Court Probation on the 5th floor within the next 2 days, all right, ma'am?
Yes. Is that there or
Right.
is that the other one on Kalamazoo?
It'll be right in the City Hall building on the 5th
Okay.
floor.
Okay.
All
It's
right.
the same building you've come to in the past, just one floor down.
Okay.
And they'll have a probation agent. What they're gonna do is they're gonna put together a sentence for me, a pre-sentence report, and then we'll see what options are available to us on the sentencing date I give you. All right, ma'am?
Okay.
All right. So refer to probation within 48 hours. And a sentencing date of
April 1st at 1:30.
April 1st at 1:30. I don't know the status of, but I'm gonna leave all the bond conditions because I don't know the status, but we can revisit that on the April 1st date, all right, ma'am?
Okay, so I do have another question. So I think I'm supposed to come back on the 17th.
Are you talking about for the jury trial that was scheduled for last time?
Yes.
Yes.
So the jury trial is no longer on the schedule because you've entered a plea today, so you do not need to come on that date. You just need to come on April 1st after meeting with probation tomorrow.
Okay.
That's, I couldn't have said it better. Exactly. So make sure you're here on that sentencing date and make sure you tell probation everything they need. Just answer their questions. And then we'll see on that April 1st date for sentencing. All right, ma'am?
Okay, so thank you.
All right. Anything else for the record in 2302-998, Ms. Wilson,
Nothing from the people you're on.
Ms. Sutter?
Just very, very quickly, you referenced some bond conditions, so I just want to make sure. At the last hearing, you had maintained the no contact order with the exception of her monitored meetings approved by the family court. That
Correct.
is still the case,
That's
correct?
still the case.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
All right. So we'll see you back here on that April 1st date. All right, ma'am?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we're on, that's right, Ms. Schroeder was here during the fray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys had a fray?
Oh, we had two guys who were just convinced that they wanted to be arrested,
Awesome.
and they were. So we're on the record in docket 23-03203 and 23-02847. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Selena Applewhite. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
This is the time set for a pretrial on two dog tickets, essentially one at large and one vaccination. This was set for 9 o'clock. It is now 9:50. It would appear that the defendant, Ms. Applewhite, has failed to appear for both pretrials. I do not see Ms. Applewhite in the Zoom courtroom, physical courtroom, or waiting room. And there have been no representations of counsel, but assistant prosecutors indicated she has not seen Selena Applewhite this morning. Ms. Wilson, how would you like to proceed?
Thank you, Your Honor. I guess at this time, the people would request a bench warrant with 48-hour hold. I will note that at the last pretrial on the 22nd, Ms. Applewhite did appear by Zoom, like right as Your Honor was about to sign a bench warrant again. So there are some appearance issues here, so I would be requesting a bench warrant.
I'll issue a bench warrant bond forfeiture with a 48-hour hold. They're both dog tickets. And I think that's correct. I think Ms. Applewhite came right before we were going to issue the bench warrant. So we did not issue a bench warrant on that occasion. And we told her that Zoom was acceptable here. All right. So that's all for the record. I'll issue a bench warrant bond forfeiture with a 48-hour hold. That's all for the record in both of these files, 2847 and 3203. Anything else, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing for the people, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. I think I only have one left.
We've got a set aside at 10.
Yeah. Are they coming or?
I don't know. I haven't received anything about this.
All right, let me see. All right, Mr. Alexander, we'll call your case next. All right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
So we're on the record in docket 04-07334. 047334. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Deshaun Alexander. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Ms. Wilson.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
Mr. Alexander.
Sean Alexander.
All right, this is time set for a motion to set aside conviction. I'll indicate what I have for the record, and then I'll turn it over to Ms. Wilson for her to make a record. We set this on January 10th for today's date. There's a proof of service filed on January 30th, 24 by Mr. Alexander. The Attorney General has filed a letter indicating, and I'll read it for the record, given the information currently in possession of the Attorney General, review of Alexander's application criminal history report shows he may be eligible to have his conviction set aside under MCL 780.621. After this court holds a hearing, and if it agrees Mr. Alexander meets the statute's eligibility requirements, it may enter an order granting the application only after the court determines that the post-conviction circumstances and behavior warrant setting aside the conviction, that it is consistent with the public welfare to grant Mr. Alexander the privilege, this privilege of setting aside the conviction. So the court has everything it needs. Any comment, Ms. Wilson?
Just that, Your Honor, it doesn't appear that we have any information regarding this application. However, we would defer to the Attorney General's office if they believe that Mr. Alexander is eligible.
Right, Mr. Alexander, is there anything you'd like to say to the court before the court will indicate the order of application for the record? There's an indication that it appears that you've had some misdemeanor behavior back years ago. Anything you'd like to say to the court on your motion to set aside the conviction?
Not right off, other than that was a time in my life where I was just young and dumb, and I hadn't had anything happen since then.
Right. It looks like almost 20 years have passed. Pretty
Correct.
close to 19 years. All right.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Alexander. I'm in possession of the order on application to set aside the conviction pursuant to this case number, which is 47334. This is for a prior conviction out of February 14, 2005. The Michigan State has reported the required information from its records to the court. The applicant has not been convicted of 3 or more felonies. The applicant has had no convictions for assaultive crimes. There are no criminal charges pending at this time. The applicant has not been convicted of any criminal offense during the applicable time period. So for the prior convictions, I'm going to check. I've had the opportunity that's been given to the Attorney General and the Assistant Prosecutor to contest this application. I'm going to check box 12. Circumstances and behavior of the applicant from the date of the applicant's conviction to the filing of the application warrant setting aside the conviction and is consistent with public welfare. So the application is granted under box 14, and I will sign the order to that effect.
Thank you.
So you've met all the conditions of your application, and your conviction's been set aside. Anything
Sure.
else for the record, Ms. Wilson, on 04-07334?
Nothing for the people, Your Honor.
Any questions, maybe Mr. Alexander? You should be all set today. I signed the order on application to set aside the conviction.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
That's right. Yes.
And then Charles Allen will wait for. I see that as the same. So where did, for our basis, where did you look for Miss Whittington? At the.
I looked on Laura, and I looked in New Mexico on their database because there was mention of New Mexico in the police report. Do we want to mute?
Yes. All right, so we're on the record in docket. Well, yeah, we're on the record in docket 23624. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Charles Wayne Allen Jr. Ms. Wilson, your appearance for the record.
Abigail Wilson for the people.
All right. This is the time set for a motion to set aside a conviction. We have all the information that we need, but we don't have Mr. Alexander, who is not here today. So I'm going to indicate to adjourn the motion. For fail to appear. Proof of service was filed by Mr. Allen, indicating today's date and time. And it was served on the prosecuting attorney and the attorney general. And we have a letter from 54A indicating that it was served. And we have a letter from the AG. So at this time, we'll indicate that Mr. Allen's failed to appear, and we'll reschedule. Sean, does Sean reschedule it? All right. Anything else for the record in 23624, Ms. Wilson?
Nothing for the people. Your
All
Honor.
right, you're all set. And we'll see you this